Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful playbook for anyone deploying applications on Google Kubernetes Engine. We're going to look at how you can use the Istio service mesh to get a serious grip on your traffic and, honestly, just deploy with a whole lot more confidence.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're about to push a new version of your app to production. You click that deploy button, and then what? For the next few minutes, maybe even hours, you're just holding your breath. Is this going to be a huge win, or are you about to start a frantic, late-night rollback?
So that anxiety, it really comes from the classic big bang deployment. You know, when you just push the new version out to everybody all at once. The problem is you're exposing every single one of your users to any potential bugs or performance hits, or, well, crashes. There's got to be a better way to do this.
And of course there is. This is exactly where Istio on GKE comes into play. Think of Istio as a smart infrastructure layer that gives you this incredibly fine-grained, precise control over the traffic flowing between your services. It basically turns traffic management from this thing you're scared of into a strategic tool you can use for safer, smarter deployments.
Okay, so with all this power, we can use two core strategies that really every modern engineering team should know inside and out: the canary rollout and the A/B test. Now, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they solve very different problems. So let's break them down.
First up, the canary rollout. This is your safety net. You've probably heard the name comes from the old canary in a coal mine idea, right? You're basically sending a small, controlled amount of real user traffic to your new version just to see if it's stable in the wild before you go all in on a full release.
And here's what that looks like in practice. Super simple concept. We're sending 90% of our traffic to the version we already know and trust, version 1, while we cautiously route just 10% to our new canary, version 2. This is huge because if something does go wrong, the blast radius, the number of people who are actually affected, is tiny.
Okay, this is a super important point, so let's be clear. A canary rollout is all about operational stability. It's answering one question: is this new code going to break things? That's it. An A/B test, on the other hand, that's about business impact. It asks, does this new button, this new feature, actually improve how users behave? They are two different tools for two totally different jobs. All right, so let's get practical. How do you actually do one of these canary rollouts? Let's walk through the playbook step by step. I'm going to show you how to take your new code from, say, just 1% of your traffic all the way to 100%, and do it safely.
The whole process is super methodical. First, you need both versions of your service, V1 and V2, running at the same time as what we call distinct subsets. Then, you create an Istio routing rule to split traffic between them. Step 3, and this is critical, you monitor absolutely everything. And finally, if it all looks good, you just gradually dial up the traffic to the new version.
This right here, this table, shows you the real heart of Istio's power. You define a resource, it's called a virtual service, that basically tells Istio how to route traffic. And as you can see, the rule is dead simple. Send 90% of traffic to V1 and 10% to V2. Now the best part? You can change these percentages on the fly with a simple configuration update. No redeployment needed. It's amazing.
But look, splitting traffic is totally useless if you're not watching what happens next. When you're running a canary, you have to be watching what I call the Trinity. First, latency. Is the new version slow? Second, error rates. Are you seeing a bunch of server-side 500 errors? And third, any key business metric, like items added to cart, just to make sure you haven't accidentally broken some core part of your app. And your decision to move forward, it has to be driven by data. You might set a really clear success criterion, just like this. The error rate for version 2 cannot go above 0.1%. If it does, you automatically roll back. No debates, no motion, just data.
Same thing for performance. You might decide that your 99th percentile latency, that's the experience for your unluckiest users, has to stay below 200 milliseconds. If you pass these gates, you can feel really confident about increasing the traffic. Okay, so let's shift gears and check out our second playbook. We've just confirmed our new version is stable, great. But now we want to know, is it better? And this is where we switch from that canary mindset to an A/B testing mindset. We're moving from infrastructure safety to getting real insights on user behavior.
See, for a real A/B test, a random percentage split might not be what you want. The real power here comes from targeting. So you have to ask yourself, who do we want to see this new feature? Just users in a specific country? Or maybe only users who are part of our internal beta program? Istio lets you make these kinds of incredibly precise decisions.
So check this out. Instead of a percentage weight, this routing rule is based on a condition. In this case, if a request comes in with an HTTP header of user group beta testers, boom, Istio sends it to version 2. Everyone else, they just go to the stable version 1. This is perfect for things like internal dogfooding or rolling out features with feature flags.
So, we've covered the two big fundamental playbooks. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with my top 5 pro-level traffic patterns that you can implement with Istio, building on these core ideas.
Okay, so we've covered the percentage-based canary and the header-based A/B test. You can also do geo-based rollouts, right? Release a feature to one region at a time. A dark launch routes traffic based on something like an internal IP address, making it totally invisible to the public. And maybe the most powerful of all, traffic mirroring, which sends a copy of live traffic to your new service without the user ever knowing, letting you test it under real-world load.
The really big takeaway here is this. With tools like Istio on GKE, traffic is no longer something you have to be afraid of during a deployment. It becomes a strategic asset, something you can shape and direct to lower your risk and get amazing insights. So the only question left is, what are you going to test first?